So I'm doing two things here. One is finding out what's still wet, and the other is smearing it around. I used to not like to do this until I discovered, let me turn you around so you can see up close here. Until I discovered what a fascinating texture is created when you take acrylic paint that is half dry and then just wipe off the wet part. You see this right here? Isn't that fascinating? So the way I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but the way I describe my painting technique is that it's mostly about the paint. It's only secondarily about, in this case, about the lighthouse. It's mostly, so there's one of my paintings back there, a fire truck. Let me zoom in on that real close. Now that one is, there we go. Okay, so there's a painting switch to oil. So I think I'm going to do white again. Again, for those of you who didn't catch my first broadcast today, here's the photograph that I'm mostly going by. When I see here that there's a little porch-like structure here that I missed the first time. Let me get that in now. And then a little bit of structure around the door. For those of you who are not from North Carolina, we have 9. Is it 9 famous lighthouses? Anybody remember? In North Carolina, I think it's 9.
It's close. It's
And I have a committee working on that question right now. And this is the most famous one, because I think this is the biggest one. I'm not sure, but this is definitely the most famous one. The most photographed, the most painted, probably. We have some others that are actually more, in my opinion, more picturesque, not as big, but I think this is the biggest one, so that makes it a state favorite. And it was about, 5 years ago? When did they move this? Do you remember?
It's been longer than that.
Yeah.
It's been quite
It's been longer than that?
It's been, yeah.
Maybe 10 years?
10, at least 10, yeah.
Time flies when you get
It
old.
does, it does.
Okay, so 10 years ago or so, they moved this thing. And it was in all the news every step of the process. It was quite fun, and you can probably Google that. You can probably just look up Hatteras, spelled just the way it sounds, Hatteras Lighthouse. And in fact, you'll find articles that are just about the moving of it, because it was quite the engineering feat. But the ocean had encroached on the shoreline. This was built, I just looked it up today because I was looking for a picture. The lighthouse was originally built in 1803, and I forget, 187 feet tall, something like that, 200 feet tall, give or take. And I think that's right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And so you can imagine moving this structure is quite the entertaining feat. Pretty amazing what people can do. They basically built like a temporary railroad track that was about, a mile long or something, and then built again a temporary train underneath the lighthouse and moved it 1 inch every half hour or something. I don't remember. I'm making that part up. You can look it up. But it was really, really slow, as you can imagine. Okay, you guys, so should I have the light on or off? This painting.
Oh, okay.
Probably on.
Yeah, that's good. I would say on, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I have done something sort of like this before. Like most lighthouse paintings, the star of the show by far is the light at the top. That's what it's all about. That's what we think of as a lighthouse, is about the light. The one time I did it sort of accidentally, that it turned out like the bottom of the lighthouse was the star of the show, and the light was on, but it was secondary, and that was by accident. But today, I think I'm sort of aiming for a similar kind of effect. I'll have the light on, but it's not. First of all, it's too high, in the canvas to be the star of the show, as I like to call it. So too, again, because the lighthouse is literally such a boring subject, it's a nice emotional subject, but visually it's not a fun shape. So I'm doing all these things to try to make it. Ooh, I know. How about if there's kind of a beam of light shining on it this way? That's the way it goes, by the way. It's not like I have people say, "Did you have all that in your mind?" And the answer's not at all. It's like, woo, like that right there. It's like, ooh, how about if it shines this way?
Yeah, that's cool.
Instead of that way, because this is more counterintuitive, a little bit more dynamic than shining that way.
Okay, it was 1999.
Oh, was it really? Are you serious?
I knew
I was
it.
trying to remember when they moved the lighthouse.
Oh,
Remember, Kitty?
Yeah.
1999, so 18 years ago. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I feel old all of a
And
sudden.
we have
That was just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, we have 7.
There's 7 that stand.
Seven lighthouse. Oh, good. So there we go. I have a committee, like I said, research committee behind you.
That are standing, it's it.
That's great. So 7 lighthouses in North Carolina. Oh, let me fly a little bit of state pride for a minute. Don't round me. What state in the union has the most lighthouses? Lighthouses for 200. Yes, you think that Michigan is the answer, and I think you can look it up and check. I think it's 125 lighthouses.
Wow.
In
Interesting.
Michigan.
That is a
So
lot.
they're not as big. They're Great Lakes lighthouses, so they're not as tall.
Uh-huh.
Hello,
Coming
folks.
from Long Island, I had to bite my tongue when I.
Yeah, that's right. I will say that generally speaking, the North Carolina lighthouses are a good bit more grander than the Michigan lighthouses. But anyway, in Michigan, they have a number of charming little lighthouses in Michigan. Hello, ladies.
How are you, dear?
I am broadcasting, and if you don't behave, I will turn the camera around. In fact, I didn't turn the camera around anyway and wave all you people. So these are all my dear friends who have come, and you're welcome to come too, whoever's watching. If you're within easy driving distance of Fuquay Marina, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. So just a minute ago, I was talking about how, as I'm painting, and I think this is typical of most of us artists, as we're painting, things dawn on us, in the process. It's like I don't have the whole thing all planned out. Another thing just dawned on me right here, that if I can manage to have the color of the sky and the color of this stripe real close to each other, and actually have this line right here disappear in the middle of the lighthouse because it's the same color there and there. That's called a disappearing line, or does anybody know, some of you artists, what do we call that? It seems like there's another term. Anyway, a disappearing line. It's sort of one of those little tricks. No, yeah, might be. Anyway, it's one of those tricks that us artists know people like it. We get a kick out of it. Our brain gets a little tickle. Like in art, if I was teaching an art class and we were all drawing a sphere, ball, I would instruct them. Now, at some point, that ball have the edge disappear. It's funny. We're just funny like that. We get a little kick out of it. So I believe I need to let this dry, and then I'm switching. Oh wait, watch this. There's a little bit of wet paint right here. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it feels so good. In fact, it felt so good. I'm going to do some more on purpose. There we go.
Gives it character.
Yeah. When in doubt, scribble. Okay. So I'm going to let this dry, and I will be back. Where am I right now? I'm on YouTube, right? Okay, so 191D is going to be on Facebook.com/Dan the Art Man. So, okay, thanks for watching.
So you've done acrylics now?
Yeah, I'm done with acrylic.